right, so let's look at this. This is what a tape usually looks like. It comes into an Excel spreadsheet. I know this is hard to read. So you'll have the address of the property, the city it's in, the state that it's in, the loan position, that's going to be first lien, second lien, third lien. Original principal commitment, that is the amount that's been put down. The origination date, whether or not it's recourse or non-recourse. Sorry, it's really small, I know. Maturity date, has it matured? That means, is it expired? So where it says matured, all of those are means that the balloon is due now. And they are now completely defaulted. This outstanding balance, that's the principal remaining on the note. Sometimes that will just say UPB. Appraisal, okay, this is their appraisal. Appraisal date, and then a description of the property. So, oh, by the way, this is a commercial tape. And this is a true commercial tape. This is one that I worked on for a little while. The appraisal. Now what you're going to do is you're going to find out, how did they get that appraisal? Who pulled it? Was it a bank appraisal? And you're going to always ask, do you have a new appraisal? Okay. So let's look at this. We'll start at this part, the top on the left-hand side. We'll Google the address, check for photos of the location. You can look, it's great to look, in Google Earth. You want to get any info on that property or owner, you want to Google that property or owner. You want to Google the LLC name. Give an idea of the location. Also online, there's crimereports.com for local crime stats in there. There's rentometer.com. That gives you a good idea of what the rents will be in that area.
Rent to what?
Rentometer.com. There's also crimereports.com. What's that? Yes, they're all free online. By the way, I'll get to that when I go do appraisal.
Crime what?
What's that? Crimereports.com.
Is it 3 or 2? Crime reports?
Crime reports with an S.com. Yeah, and it's on here, but if you can read it. So if the note is in first position, this means that the lien must be satisfied first when any sale of the property occurs, and that its terms may be enforced via foreclosure without reference to the other liens on the property. The one place where that doesn't exist is taxes. Taxes come before you and must be paid in full when you do this thing, unless you can negotiate something out with the tax authority. Probably not. But we have negotiated tax liens before, but it's a difficult thing to do and not something I would count on. If you do buy the note and you don't foreclose, then you have the seconds behind it, and that's when you negotiate those down, get them to go away. You can negotiate a second down to 5%, 10% of the price of that unpaid balance, and if you foreclose, you can just wipe it. Let's see. Okay, so now let's go to recourse versus non-recourse. So this type of debt so this one's a recourse, yes. Limited. Limited means non-recourse, typically. And when it says limited recourse, because all, as you learned from, I'm sure Eric went through this, all loans, even if they're non-recourse, can have recourse back to the borrower with the bad boy clauses. If there's anything that they think that they did fraudulent, they can lose. Okay. Nope, that's the next tape. All right, so now limited means non-recourse, basically, typically. It just means a limited recourse loan. Now, it may mean limited, which may mean that they had different carve-outs in there that weren't just bad boy clauses, but if the property does this, then it becomes a recourse loan. So there can be, in a commercial loan, these things can be written any way they want to be written, really. But there's certain standards, obviously, that they do. Make sure you ask for the appraisal. Okay, so again, with this appraisal, this is a big tip. Make sure you ask for the recent appraisal, because again, they will never give it to you, and you can be a little demanding about that. Are you sure? I'd really like to know. I'd like to make sure there is no appraisal on this property. It would really help me to determine whether or not I want to purchase this property. I'd really like to see the appraisal. Generally, and I'll even say generally, all banks pull an appraisal, within 30 to 60 to 90 days of this deal being in default. I would be real surprised that you didn't do that, and kind of make him even feel a little bit like, well, are you really doing your job? And not being, whenever you talk to people, this is a huge relationship business. Even if you're talking to a banker, if you're talking to a broker, if you're talking to anyone in this room, it's all about relationships. So, I always deal with kindness and, sincerity. But I do push a little bit when I feel like I need to push just a little bit, and I do it in a very nice way. But knowing what they have is vital in order to push for that. It also makes it much easier to wholesale when you have a current appraisal. All right, so here's a list of things to ask for with the bank prior to a bid. Appraisal, 12-month trailing. I believe this is in your due diligence letter, but rent roll current loan agreement. That's the original loan agreement. The deed of trust, environmental report, owner partnership operating agreement. That's the borrower's operating agreement. Proof of property insurance. You want to be looking for the title insurance there also. Loan approval letter. Bank's internal credit commitment approval. That will be the borrower's all the borrower's information as well when he went to get the loan. Financials of the guarantor on the loan, UCC lien filing, zone information. Banks may not have all of this data, and that's true. And again, the less info you have, the more risk, and the more the note is devalued, and that means you really get to a real low number. And again, with everything here, you're going to be using those things. Wherever you're missing things, you're going to say to the bank, hey, I'm missing this, I'm missing this, I'm missing this, and therefore I can only value this at this because of my risk, And those are the things they know. That's why they're selling it. They're at risk. They're nervous. They want it off their books. By the way, this is a big trick that the banks will do. The banks will sell notes a lot when there's only like 2 or 3 months left before it gets to its balloon date. Well, to me, that's a balloon date, no matter what. You're already at it. It's by the time I close on it. But they do it all the time, and these crazy, this is the thing. I'll tell you. There is a lot of fever out there for a property. People are paying, again, crazy amounts of money for A notes. I live in the B and C world because it is just too much. I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to buy properties that are overvalued. And just because they look pretty, they have a tendency to be overvalued.
So is there any way that you can know that a note is about 2 months before?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it should be so important to the bank to get you that information that it should be right in this tape, which is an initial tape that should take you nothing. It's going to take, and I don't mean that it's got to take a relationship to start getting these tapes, but this is what I expect to get before I even do anything. And you know what the next thing I expect to get that's next to this tape is I want to know, what is it that you're going to sell me this tape for? Period. I can't keep waiting. To me, yeah, you've given me these properties. What do you want to sell them for? The notes, what do you want to sell them for? But they will always give you the UPB, the unpaid balance, and they will always give you the length of the term. One of the most important things here and it's actually not on this tape, add it to it, is you need to know when was the last time this person paid on this note. That is vital information because that gives you a clue into, well, the last time they paid, if they haven't paid in 90 days or 120 days or 3 years, you're never going to get payment. And if they haven't paid in 3 years, they probably haven't paid taxes in 3 years. So you have to look at those taxes because if they have not been paid, you will be paying them in full. So you probably will not be able to discount those taxes. And they are ahead of you, period. Uncle Sam knows how to get its bucks, and they will do it. All right, so now I think we go to the next one.